Hi there, my name is Beezito, and today we are taking a look at 27 individual pre-built PCs and comparing them to one that you can make DIY in New Zealand. There are 15 retailers here, so let's take a look at it. Now, there aren't too many rules, but the first one is that we have a budget of 2,000 New Zealand dollars. But for a listing, they can go up to $100 over. So the total budget, 2,100 New Zealand dollars. This is to factor in if they are running a sale at the moment or not. I won't be taking into account the cost of shipping, and of course all prices are in New Zealand dollar with GST included. All builds must be brand new, so no second-hand parts, as it's harder to fairly compete against each other and compare pricing. All builds will be judged based on price and performance. Now, I will be recommending a few builds which are the best value for money, in my opinion, in this price range, but please keep in mind for the recommendations that they are only based on price, and you will need to do your own research to see if they have good customer service and warranty practices. We will be sticking to the 2,000 New Zealand dollar budget quite closely, so if this video gets a lot of interest, I'd be happy to do another one at $1,200 or another budget if you guys like. Share it around if you guys want to see that video. Kiwi to Kiwi as well, if you guys can watch a longer part of this video, that would be much appreciated instead of just skipping to the recommendations part. But hey, that's up to you guys. It'd just be much appreciated. And if you guys can like and subscribe and comment as well, it will help the video to get out to more people and for me to do more of these videos in the future. I used to do them in the past, but they do take a lot of time to do and they didn't get so many views when I stopped doing them. I'd be happy to do more in the future, so hopefully this goes well for this video. All links to the builds are in the description in a Google spreadsheet with all the parts and prices listed. Let's get into it.
This guy still has unactivated Windows. I keep telling him to activate it, but he won't listen. You know what that means.
Bro, this guy locked the door again? I know how to fix this. Where's my wallet? Check out Keysfan.com for cheap Windows keys. If you use coupon code BEZ50, you can get 50% off Windows licenses. And if you use code BEZ62, you can get 62% off Microsoft Office, and they also have a Microsoft Office and Windows 11 bundle. You can pay via PayPal, and they have a pretty good customer support team. Check out Keysfan, linked in the description. And don't get locked in your room with Mr. Gorilla. Let's start us off with our DIY PC build. So we have it on PC Part Picker, as that's the easiest way to compile this. And we have got a budget of $2,001.93 New Zealand. So not too bad, we're right on that $2,000 mark. I tried my best to stay there. So let's see at the parts that we picked for this DIY build that we'll be comparing all of the pre-built PCs to. Having a look at the parts quickly, we have the Ryzen 5 7600. It's a 6-core processor on AM5. Pretty good value for money when it's on special. It's a little bit expensive at the moment at $378, but hey, it's good enough and a pretty decent mid-range CPU. For our cooler, we have the Thermalright Phantom Spirit 120 SE ARGB. So we have a little bit of RGB in this build. It comes on at $80.50 from the cheapest retailer being Extreme PC. And it's a pretty good cooler overall and a good budget one for this build. Of course, you don't exactly need it because the 7600 does come with cooler. So you can save $80 here if you guys don't want it. Next up, we have the ASRock B850M-X. So this one comes in at $212. It is an MATX board, so it's not a full board. It is pretty cheap at its price. Most boards for AM5 are actually quite expensive still to this day, and honestly I don't know why. They still continue to be expensive. It is PCIe 4.0, but that's not really a problem for the graphics card that we are choosing. Also, I guess the other thing is that ASRock has kind of a bad reputation on AM5 at the moment because of the X3D chips that keep burning up, but that's mostly a problem for the 9800 X3D at the moment. And we probably won't be putting something like that on this board, as that's over a $900 New Zealand CPU. Next up, we have some pretty cheap RAM. It is the G-Skill Ripjaws S5. This is 32GB, so two 16GB models. DDR5 6000 at CL36, so not the best timing, but it's a pretty basic kit of RAM for $179 from PBTech at the moment. No RGB on the heat spreader at all or anything like that. Just a decent kit of DDR5 memory at a cheaper price. I did find RAM a little bit expensive at the moment, especially here, so hopefully things start to calm down in terms of pricing. Also, surprisingly, SSDs are quite expensive at the moment. The Samsung 990 EVO Plus 1TB was $148.99. A decent DRAM-less SSD, so it should be good enough for normal gaming, and I guess for your operating system would be better to have something with DRAM, but we don't have much of a choice here, and it was one of the cheaper ones that I could find that have a decent reputation. So yeah, that is what it is for SSDs at the moment. We can only fit a 1TB SSD. Now, of course, you can always buy a second-hand hard drive to put in this build to keep it cheaper if you want to. Just don't put any of your own personal files on it, and make sure you're backing up stuff if you are. For the graphics card, we've gone with the PowerColor Reaper RX 9060 XT 16GB model. Now this is of course it comes with GDDR6 memory, and it's $711.85. So a pretty good price at the moment for it, and the fact that it is one of the better budget cards that you can buy with 16GB of VRAM is pretty good. So this will be our baseline, kind of what we're going to compare to for our actual pre-built PCs. And it's a good card, and it's at a good price. So let's head on to our case. We have the Phanteks XT View. This comes with 3 RGB fans in it. So 2 intake, 1 exhaust, and a cool RGB strip there. And it has like this V panel at the front. So quite a nice case at $107.64 from PBTech at the moment. But I think it's a good case to showcase whatever you want inside it. And as well, it's at a good price at the moment. Lastly, we didn't skimp on power supply. Well, there's not too many options that are decent, I would say, in New Zealand. And power supply is just not something you skimp on, to be honest with you guys. I've chosen the Be Quiet Pure Power 13M 750 watt power supply, and according to the new power supply tier list, it is a decent option. It's at $182.85. It is ATX 3.1, which is great, and it also comes with that 16-pin connector that we won't need for this build, but in the future, if you want to upgrade, you'll be more than happy to keep this on. Although 750 watts is a wee bit low for those cards going forward, but hey, at least we get an ATX 3.1 power supply. Now, I apologize for speaking so quickly. It's just because we have so much to get through. I want to make sure that we spend enough time on each thing individually. So let's get into the pre-built PCs. So as always, as mentioned, all of the builds will be in an Excel spreadsheet, including the one for the DIY PC as well. Let's head on to our first one. Also, I forgot to mention, all these companies, the 15 of them, will have at least one build to represent them. Whether they're good value for money or not, that's what we're going to decide and find out. This one is from Paradigm PCs, and this is their GGPC, and it comes in at $1,996, which is under our budget. Has an i5 14400F, which is kind of similar to the 7600 that we chose, and the 14400F for most of these builds will be in them. It's just that it's a refresh version of the 13400F. So if you guys are looking for benchmarks, just look for the 13400F. It's quite similar to the 14400F CPU. For the cooler, we look to have a stock Intel cooler right there, and I mean, pretty decent looking overall for the entire build. For the motherboard, it's not listed, unfortunately, and we just have an unspecified version of 32 gigabytes of DDR5 memory right there. And then we have a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD, so I have no idea what brand it is. And we have an RTX 5060 Ti 8 gigabyte, a little bit disappointing there. And we have an unknown FSP case. So I don't know too much about this PC, as well as the power supply being not listed. So a lot of brands are missing here. Please update this. If this company is watching this, it'd be much appreciated. Comes with a 1-year warranty as well. So looks decent overall. Not the best in this build lineup. So let's head on to the next one. Our next retailer is Reforged Rigs. Now, I did hear of them from a friend a couple of months ago, but I'm not fully familiar with them, and I honestly haven't been keeping up with the New Zealand PC pre-built scene in quite a long time, so some of these guys are going to be new for me to hear. So we have a couple of builds from them at the $2,000 price range, and I thought I should include them as they have some pretty decent options from what I saw. Now the first one is an RX 6800 XT with 16 gigabytes of VRAM, and it comes in at $1,999. The CPU is a Ryzen 5 8400F, and as far as I know, the 8400F performs slightly worse than the 7500F, which is slightly worse than our pre-built PC's 7600. So do keep that in mind, but it is an okay CPU for this graphics card. For the CPU cooler, we do have the Deepcool AG400 with a single 120mm ARGB fan. For the motherboard, we have the MSI Pro A8620M-E MATX motherboard. So this is an MATX case as well. Then we have 16 gigabytes of DDR5 memory, so 2 8GB sticks. So not that great. I prefer 32 gigabytes at this price range, but that's okay. And it's clocked at 5200 megahertz. That is also a kit of Kingston Fury RAM. For the SSD, we have the WD Green SN3000 1 terabyte. And for the GPU, we have the RX 6800 XT. And for the GPU, we have the RX 6800. It's a 16 gigabyte card with GDDR6. Now, unfortunately, I won't be able to include this to compare to the others. I just thought I'd leave it in here because it is a decent option, but I will explain why it's not the best option compared to the others in just a second. It does come with a 3-month warranty for some reason, so I believe it's a second-hand part, so it's not brand new. The rest look to be brand new. And then we have the case, which is the Silverstone LD04, which is a MATX case. 3 fans, looks like 2 intake, 1 exhaust, and it's quite nice. It has this little intake at the bottom for air to flow everywhere. Looks like a nice case. It's pretty cool. And then we have for the power supply the Silverstone Addis 750R, which is a 80 plus bronze tier power supply with 750 watts, ATX 3.1 as well. So yeah, probably not the best power supply there, but it is what it is for that one. And for this company, they say 12-month RTB warranty, means return to base warranty with individual warranties for each parts. Now, the reason I say that the 6800 is not a good option compared to the other builds with like the RX 9060 XT is that the 9060 XT gets upscaling on RDNA 4 and this won't. So you won't have the latest technologies, and at the same price of $2,000, it's not really worth it. In our next build, we had the i5 14400 build with a RTX 4070 12GB in it. Unfortunately, it has sold out, but it was at $2,099, which is right in our price range, and it was actually a pretty decent value for money PC. Now, unfortunately, it is sold out now, and we can see the parts here were actually pretty decent overall. The 4070 is pretty good, especially at this price range, so it is something I would have recommended, but fortunately it's gone now. So they seem to sell like individual builds, and the fact that I think the RTX 4070 is new. It says it's new here. It has a 1-year warranty. We'll be skipping over this because it is sold out though. The next one is the Ryzen 8700 with an RTX 3080. Now, And this is actually a very interesting build, and the reason I say is because it has the RTX 3080 in it. Let's go over the price range. Was $2,099, still is available, which is great. It has the Ryzen 7 8700, which should be slightly better than our 7600, at least in some productivity tasks. Should be pretty similar in gaming from memory. The CPU cooler is the Thermalright 240 AIO, which looks quite nice here in this Thermaltake case. And for the motherboard, we have the Gigabyte A620M AM5 motherboard. So a lower end motherboard for a mid-range CPU, but that's okay. And then for the RAM, we have the Crucial Pro OC, 32 gigabytes of DDR5 6000 CL36. So two 16 gigabyte sticks, which is exactly what we have in our build. For the DIY one, we have the WD Green SN3000 1TB SSD, which is great. And then we have, and for the graphics card, we have the RTX 3080 12GB model. It's the EVGA one, so one of the nice models. Now, unfortunately, this is a used graphics card, as it has a 3-month warranty here. It says it's used. And we have, for the case, we have the Thermaltake S100TG, which it looks alright. And for the power supply, we have the Cooler Master MWE Gold version 3 power supply, 750 watts. So good that it's gold rated power supply, especially for a graphics card like this. And the warranties are, of course, 12-month return to base with individual warranties. Now, I will technically have to disqualify, you'll see in my recommendations, because it is using a used RTX 3080 and I won't be able to properly compare. So it is a great option here, guys. It's just that I won't be able to technically recommend it, but you guys will see in the recommendation section. Next up, we would have had the RTX 5060 Ti 16GB model for this PC at $2,099 with a Ryzen 5 9600X with 32GB of DDR5 memory. Now, unfortunately, it got sold, I believe, while I was filming this video or just before it, which is kind of annoying. But anyways, it is what it is. It would have been a very good PC to recommend as well. And overall, the stuff that it came with. The only concerning thing is that it had a bronze tier power supply with 650 watts, which should be enough for this build because it shouldn't be pulling that much wattage in any case. It's just the fact that you could have something better. Probably my only critique here in any case, but can't really comment on it because it is sold out. Last but not least, for Reforged PCs, we have RTX 4070 build, which is very similar to before. It just doesn't have an AIO. So let's have a quick look at it. So this build comes with an i5 14400F. It's $2,100. It has a stock Intel cooler, of course, the MSI Mag B760M motherboard, which should be slightly better than the other one from before. We have 32 gigabytes of DDR4 memory at 3200, so two 16 gigabyte sticks. Then we have for the SSD the Lexar NQ790 1TB NVMe SSD. Then of course we have the MSI RTX 4070, so it's a 12 gigabyte model. It says new here, 1 year warranty. And then we have the case, which is the Deepcool CG530, which looks quite nice with these fans. Comes with 4 fans, so presumably 3 intake, 1 exhaust. It looks pretty cool there. And then for the power supply, we have the Silverstone Atos 750R, which is a bronze tier power supply, which 750 watts, but it is ATX 3.1. Now, of course, this comes with their 12-month return to base warranty with individual warranties. So not a bad build here, and let's head on to our next one. So our next build is from Godmode, and the first one we have from them is their Falcon at $2,000. And as you can see, it's actually quite a nice build with the amount of fans that they include, cool case as well, all in white. So this PC has a Ryzen 7 5700X. So an okay CPU. It's alright. Then we have the cooler, which is the Thermalright ARGB 360 AIO, which explains all the fans there. You can also see we have some fans at the bottom, which is actually quite nice. Then for the motherboard, we have the MSI Mag B550 Tomahawk, pretty decent motherboard. Then for the RAM, we have the NeTAC Shadow 2 White, 32 gigabytes of DDR4 3200 CL16. A little bit slow for the 5700X in my opinion, especially for what you should be able to get for value for money for DDR4 today. Then for the SSD, we have the Team Group MP44L 1TB NVMe SSD. Great to see there. And then for the graphics card, unfortunately, they've let us down here. We have an RTX 5060 8GB model. And then we have for the case, the Dark Flash case, I believe. Then for the case, we have the Dark Flash DS900. It's a white case, and it comes with all these fans, which is actually quite nice to see and looks pretty good in my opinion. So, I mean, having a look through that looks quite nice with those fans. And then for the power supply, we have a Gigabyte 550 watt silver rated power supply. So 550 watts isn't too much, but I guess for a build like this, that's not going to use too much wattage. That's fine. Bit expensive for an 8GB card though. Let's head on to the next one that they have, and it just fits within our budget, and it's the Argonaut. So interesting that we have this, and it's like one of those cool corner cases as well. So from the base builds, of course, I'm just going to pick the base options here. We have, for $2,099, we have a Ryzen 5 8400F. Then we have, for the CPU cooler, we have the Darkstorm Z4 Pro Mist. So it's a tower cooler. Then for the motherboard, we have the MSI Pro B650M-A motherboard. Decent enough. Then we have for the RAM Crucial 32 gigabytes of DDR5 6000 CL36. So pretty much the same of what we have in our DIY PC. Then for the SSD, we have the Kingston NV3 1TB SSD. For the graphics card, I have included the RX 9060 XT 16GB model, which is 200 on top of the base model, I believe. So with this here, we get a much better experience in terms of gameplay, so that's why I picked it. So that's why the price is a bit more. That's one of the selected options that I have here. For the case, we have the Dark Flash Ago FT350, which honestly looks pretty cool. And then for the power supply, we have the Gigabyte P550 S 550 watt power supply. So a little bit less, but it should be just enough for a build like this, especially not that much in it. The case also comes with 3 fans, which is cool. And of course, I forgot to mention as well, for the Godmode PCs, they have a 2-year warranty, which is pretty cool to see. And it's nice that it's not 1 year. Good stuff from Godmode. A little bit expensive, but hey, decent enough. Let's head over to Playtech. For Playtech, we have the Samurai Pro. This is the only one I believe that fit the price range, so $1,999. Now, of course, you can get some upgrades here if you guys want, and I believe it comes in black and white for the same price. So let's head on to the specs. For the Samurai Pro from Playtech, of course, it comes in at $1,999, and it comes with a i5 14400F, as most of these builds actually do. For the CPU cooler, I'm actually not really sure what it is. It just says Performance 120mm ARGB cooling system, so might be something generic, but normal tower cooler, so should be decent enough. And then for the motherboard, we have the Asus Prime B760M-A. For the memory, we only have 16 gigabytes of DDR5 4800, so would have been nice to see 16 gigabytes. So would have been nice to see 32 gigabytes instead. For the SSD, we get a 1TB Gen 4 NVMe SSD. Now, this actually confused me a little bit for the recording here. So on the top here, it says RTX 5060 Ti 8GB model. And that's what I had written down. Then if I scroll down here in the spec sheet, it says RX 9060 XT with no specification on the memory. So I don't know what it is between the two. I assume it's probably the 8GB model for this one as well. I don't know if it's the 16 one, and I don't know why they've done that. Guys, please fix this, or at least add in which graphics card you can choose between the two. A little bit hard for consumers to read. For the case, we have an Antec case, I believe. So it's not actually listed, but it does say Antec on the side here. 2 intake, 1 exhaust. Looks pretty cool as well with that front glass. It's actually quite similar to the case that we picked for the DIY PC. For the power supply, we have a 650 watt 80 plus non-modular power supply. So I don't even know what that is. So it could be bronze, silver, or gold. Not sure. It's probably best to ask them. Guys, Playtech, please don't do this, because it's important for consumers to see what type of power supply they're getting, especially if they're paying you for a pre-built PC, in my opinion. So I think it's important to put that specification on there. And for any other retailers that are watching this video, please make sure that your specifications are as detailed as possible. I know that not everyone is tech savvy, but it is important for it to be there for transparency. Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't say that there. In any case, okay PC, it's just got the 8GB card from what I can assume, so not that great value for money in terms of this price range. I am glad to say though, from Playtech, they come with a 3-year warranty, which is actually quite long. So happy to see that they're willing to put up with us customers for 3 years. Let's head on to Computer Lounge. So Computer Lounge has the Spectre amp. This is an RX 9060 XT PC, and it's currently on special for $1,999, so $100 off. So its CPU is an i5-14400F with a stock Intel cooler. Its motherboard is an MSI Pro Z790-S. So quite a fancy motherboard we have here for this type of PC. Interesting to see that from Computer Lounge. And then for the memory, we actually have DDR5 6000 CL38, 32GB, which is awesome to see. And I'm glad that it is 32GB. It's actually RGB as well. Then for the SSD, we have the Teamforce T-Force G50 1TB. That's a little bit of a tongue twister there, but good that we have an M.2 SSD. There's not really too much critique in terms of storage for most of these places. Everyone has a 1TB SSD, which isn't that great, but also in my DIY PC, I really couldn't go above that, especially for this price range. It's something you'll have to add later. Now for the graphics card, I'm happy to say thank you, Computer Lounge, for doing this. We have an RX 9060 XT 16GB model for this price, which I think is awesome, and it does show a bit of value for money here, which is great to see. Its case is the Corsair iQ 220T RGB tempered glass case, which actually looks pretty cool. It comes with 3 intake and any exhaust? Oh, no exhaust. For some reason, it's a kind of a lower wattage build, but it would have been nice to see one more fan, or you probably could ask to put the bottom fan here to the back. That's probably what I would do in my opinion, but not bad for this case. I think it looks good. And then for the power supply, is a little bit of a letdown. I know what they've done it because they're trying to maximize their money here, especially because they're giving you a Z790 board. They have the Thermaltake Smart BX1 750 watt 80 plus bronze power supply. So not the best power supply, but I guess it is a bit of a mix up here in terms of parts. But it's good to see in terms of actual performance from this PC that we get a pretty good build. Happy with that one, and it comes with a 2-year return to base warranty. Let's head on to our next build from Extreme PC. They are actually offering a pretty decent build here. So Extreme PC for $1,879 are offering a i5-14400F, and it comes with a 4 heat pipe air cooler. I don't even know what that means, but it comes with some sort of aftermarket cooler. So not the stock one, but hopefully it's better. Then it comes with an unknown brand of an H610M motherboard. So not the best, but I guess it's okay. Then we have 32 gigabytes of DDR4 3200 ADATA RAM. Again, specs not known of it. If it's, for example, CL18 or CL16, we're not really sure. Then for the SSD, we have an ADATA 1TB PCIe 4.0 NVMe SSD, which is pretty cool. Then thank God for their graphics card. They have the RX 9060 XT, a 16 gigabyte model, which is awesome to see. Thank you guys for putting this in this build for such a great price. This is lower than what the DIY PC is, which is kind of nuts. Then for the case, we have the Antec NX200M, and I guess it's an okay looking case. Cool that we have the front mesh panel here. Looks like 2 fans are included and 1 exhaust. I hope. This is a stock photo, but I really hope it does come with those 3 fans. I'm not calling out places to go and verify that. Please, guys, if you're a retailer, just list it down in the description so I don't have to call or any of the customers have to call. Then for the power supply, we have the ASRock Challenger 650 watt power supply. So I'm not really sure what this power supply is rated for, if it's gold or if it's silver. I'm not sure. Again, guys, please put it in the description. I don't want to have to go and search every part every time. And comes with Windows 11 there as well. Again, guys, please put this in the description. It will take literally 1 second for you guys to put the actual specifications. Like if it's 80 plus gold or silver or whatever it is, it doesn't really matter, but it will help us to understand what you're offering here. But most importantly, on top of that, it comes with a 2-year warranty, which is awesome to see. Thank you, Extreme PC, for a 2-year warranty. I think at $1879, this is a very good option. So for this $1879, they do offer a couple of upgrades like the others do, which is awesome to see. But it will probably fit in the budget for some of the stuff. You probably add like a hard drive or something like that if you guys really want. But pretty good value for money here from what I've seen from Extreme PC on this build. Now we have another one from Extreme PC, and it's called the September Sale Plus Free Upgrade Intel i5-14400F. It's not really a named PC. They don't really name their PCs, which is fair enough. But let's have a look at it. So this one is at $1879, so even cheaper than before. It comes with an i5-14400F, a 4 heat pipe air cooler, whatever that means for their build. Comes with an unknown H610M motherboard again, 32 gigabytes of DDR4 3200 from ADATA, a ADATA 1TB NVMe SSD. Now, unfortunately, the biggest letdown here is the RTX 5060 8GB model. And it has a Secotep Brave tempered glass MATX tower case. So it looks like it just comes with 1 fan. I'm not really sure for the exhaust, and has a solid front panel. Not the best case, but it is what it is for that one. And for the power supply, it comes with, again, a ASRock Challenger 550 watt power supply. So I believe the other one was 650. This one is 550. The only reason I included this one in this roundup is because you can go over here, click upgrade GPU, and you can change from an RTX 5060 to 9060 XT 8GB, but wouldn't recommend the 8GB model. Or you can go to a 9060 XT for $179. So when we do that, we get $1968, which is actually a pretty good price, but in comparison to the other one, which has the same specs, this one's better. So I would probably go with this one from Extreme PC between those two. Actually, a very good value offering overall in terms of raw specs. Next up, we have PBTech. So we have their GGPC, an RTX 5060 PC. So this one comes to $1,953.85, and it comes with a i5-14400F, a stock Intel cooler, supposedly, it looks like, I'm not really sure, with a B760M MATX motherboard. So it's an unknown brand here. They're probably using various brands, but not really sure. Would have been nice to see what it actually is. Then for the RAM, we have 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, so two 16 gigabyte sticks. Not really sure what the specs are on those. So it says here RAM varies between Corsair, Kingston, or G-Skill. Just would have been nice to see it was like DDR5, 4800, 6000, CL36. It just would have been nice to see if it was like DDR5, 6000, CL36 or something like that. But it is what it is. They have a 1TB NVMe SSD, unknown brand. Then, unfortunately, they have the RTX 5060 8GB model. Now, this is a bit disappointing from them, especially at this price compared to what the other guys are offering. 8GB is honestly not that great at this price point, so yeah, not the best value offering, unfortunately. So the case is the Cooler Master Elite 490, which looks pretty cool with the mesh at the bottom and the two intake. One exhaust actually looks pretty similar to our one and the DIY PC, so pretty happy with it. I like the look of these cases for some reason. It just looks nice and spacious in there. Pretty cool. And then for the power supply, we have a 650 watt 80 plus rated power supply. Again, it would have been nice to see if it was like gold rated or bronze rated or silver, whatever it is. I just want to see it there. And it comes with a 1 year warranty. So a little bit lower than some of the other guys that we just looked at. It's an okay PC. It's just unfortunate it's using an 8GB card. We have another one from PBTech, and this one costs a little bit less, so it's $18.38 and 85 cents. It's called the GGPC RX 9060 XT Gaming PC. So this one is a little bit cheaper, but its specs are alright. So it comes with a Ryzen 5 5600 XT processor, so one of the later ones, one of the refreshed 5600s, and I believe it comes with a stock AMD cooler, or don't think it's specified, but I can see that in the photo there. And the motherboard is a B550M ATX motherboard, so not sure what brand. Then the RAM is 32 gigabytes of DDR4, and it doesn't say anything further, just two 16 gigabyte sticks, which is honestly, thank you for putting that there, especially for DDR4 memory. I don't think there's any excuse for not putting 32 gigabytes at this point, especially that most DDR4 kits are a lot cheaper now, so don't know why some of the other guys are putting 16, for example. We have a 1TB NVMe SSD, not specified any brand. Then unfortunately, again, we have a 8GB card, so it's the RX 9060 XT 8GB model. So yeah, guys, I don't know why they're doing this, especially at this price point. We're paying so much money, it's quite annoying to see an 8GB card. It would have been nice to see that 16GB card for this price. For the case, we have the Phanteks XT-M3 black chassis, so has a tempered glass side panel and is one of those dual chambered ones, I believe. So actually looks pretty cool. I like the dual chamber as well, although as generic as it is at this point, looks pretty nice. It comes with the two intake fans, one exhaust, and there's a bit of a chunky boy, eh? But looks pretty cool overall. Like the design. And then for the power supply, we just have a 650 watt 80 plus rated. We don't know what brand or what specification it actually is. So okay offerings from PBTech. Unfortunate with the 8GB cards. Next up, we have Allied PC. So these are one of the guys that I haven't really had a look at in the past before, but let's see what they're offering today. So their PC is called the Allied Stinger-I or 1, and it's $19.49, and I believe that's the black or the white one, which is cool to see if you guys want choice there. Now the CPU they've chosen is a little bit older, being the i5-12400F, but I believe isn't too bad a CPU, considering that the 14400F is just a refresh of the 13400F, and I can't really remember the difference between the 12400F and the 13400F. Believe there probably should be a little bit of increase in performance, but not sure by how much, especially on these graphics cards as well. Now for the cooler, they're offering the Allied Sidewinder 180 watt 120 air cooler, so it's a tower cooler. Looks pretty cool there. I guess that's their own brand, which is cool to see. Then for their motherboard, they have the Intel H610 M-ATX motherboard, no specified brand here. Then for the RAM, we have 32 gigabytes of 3200 DDR4 memory with It's a black heatsink, so I guess if you have a white build, it will have a black heatsink. And then for the SSD, we have a 1TB NVMe SSD. And for the graphics card, whilst it is the RTX 5060 Ti, which is better than the 5060 offerings from some of the other builds, it is only 8GB. So I don't know. It is still the 8GB model, unfortunately. So I can't really add much more than that. It should be the 16GB model at this price. Now for the case, we actually have a pretty cool offering. The Allied Stinger has 6 fans and is an RGB case as well, so will look pretty nice. So assume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, should be a couple of 3 intake, 3 exhaust. But yeah, pretty cool offering for the case as well. For the power supply, they have a 650 watt power supply, but it doesn't say the brand here, unfortunately. It also comes with a 2-year warranty, which is awesome to see. 2-year return to base. And yeah, I mean, okay offering. It's just, I would have preferred to see a 16GB card, whether that is the RX 9060 XT 16GB or the 5060 Ti 16GB. I know it's a little bit harder at that price point for the NVIDIA card, but you know, I mean, you guys could offer something, but you know, for the price, you could drop a couple of fans if you want and put like a better graphics card. I don't know. I'm just suggesting things here. For the next build, we are going to Compulsion. Now the next one we're looking at is Compulsion Tech. Now I actually haven't heard of them from before, but it does say here established in 2015. Interesting. They've been going for 10 years now. Cool enough. Their PC is called the Sonic Gaming PC. And it comes in at $2,045. The CPU is the i5-14400F, and the CPU cooler is a Thermalright Assassin XE SE, which is actually same, if not similar to the one we have in our DIY PC from memory. For the motherboard, we have the Gigabyte B760M ATX motherboard, and for the RAM, we have 32GB of T-Force Team Delta RGB 3200 RAM at CL16, so it's DDR4. Team Force does make some pretty good kits of memory, so nice to see here. And then for the SSD, we have an outlier here. We have a 2TB NVMe SSD, Team Group MP44Q. Awesome to see that it's 2TB instead of our 1TB. Gotta give it to them there. Then for the graphics card, a little bit of a letdown here. We have an RTX 5060 8GB. Probably should have seen at least the Ti model here. Of course, would have been better to see a 16GB model card of anything. For the case, I think this case looks pretty cool. It is the Thermaltake View 170 RGB. It's the white one as well. It has that mesh at the bottom, which I really like, and it has that corner piece as well, similar to our case in the DIY PC. Quite a few fans as well, so intake and exhaust as well. I like the look of it. It actually looks pretty cool to me. And then for the power supply, we have a 650 watt Gigabyte P650SS white 88 plus silver efficiency power supply. So it's not gold rated, but that should be decent enough for the 650 watt. Not sure what it is on the tier list, but seems okay for what they're offering. What is cool though is the fact that they have a 3-year warranty. It says hardware and labor warranty, so I'm not exactly sure what that is, but it does say 3 years here, so that's awesome to see, guys. Thank you for the 3-year warranty for everyone that's going to buy. Pretty cool. But again, the offering in terms of value for money is not exactly the best here, unfortunately. So let's head over to their next PC. We actually have 3 of them from them. And we have the MAMMOTH Gaming PC. This has an RTX 4060 Ti in it, which is pretty cool. But let's go over all of its specs. It comes in at $1,995, and it has a i5-14400F, same CPU cooler from before, the Thermalright Assassin X SE RGB, the Gigabyte B760 DS3H AX motherboard, it's a little bit different. For the RAM, they have 32GB of DDR4 3200 CL16, which is awesome to see. Thank you for putting 32GB once again. And for the SSD, we have a 2TB NVMe of course the same as before, which is awesome to see. Now they have gone with the RTX 4060 Ti 8GB model, so a wee bit interesting for this price point, but I'm not really sure 8GB card at this price point again. Then we have for the case an MSI Magforge M100R. So this comes with 3 intake, I believe, 1 exhaust. Awesome to see there. And then for the power supply, they've gone with a 750 watt Corsair CX750 series, so 88 plus bronze efficiency. So a little bit of a lower tier power supply, but should be okay for a build like this. And of course it comes with a 3-year warranty from them. And last but not least, from Compulsion Tech, we have their PANTHER gaming PC, which for $1,995, I'm just going to say it right now, isn't that great value for money, even comparison to their other 2 builds. So this one has a i5 14400F again, same Thermalright Assassin XE RGB cooler, awesome to see there. And then we have a Gigabyte B760M DS3H AX motherboard. Unfortunately, they've gone with 16 gigabytes of DDR4 3200 CL16 memory here, so not really sure why they stepped it down for this build. Doesn't make sense to me. For the SSD, it's great to see that they have a 2TB Team Group SSD once again, the same as the other 2 builds. Thank you for that, that's pretty cool. Then for the graphics card, again, RTX 5060 8GB. And then for the case, we have the Silverstone Farah R1 Pro. Now, if you guys have been watching the channel for a very long time and you've seen my old videos, I used to recommend this case all the time in the budget DIY PC builds because of how cheap it is and that it has a mesh front for panel as well. It's a pretty cool case, and it comes with a 650 watt Gigabyte P650 power supply. So yeah, it's an okay power supply. It is 88 plus silver rated. It's also cool that they've included 4 ARGB case fans, because I believe the Farah doesn't come with that many from memory, but it could be included now. So not too sure, but for the price, guys, I don't know why you're putting 16 gigabytes of RAM in here instead of 32, but it's cool that you offer a 3-year warranty as well. Heading on to Mighty Ape. They have the KATANA gaming PC, and kind of interesting offering, I guess, for $2,099 for the non-member price and $2,049 for their Primate member price. So I believe you pay a subscription and then you get really quick shipping or something like that. So let's start off with the CPU that it has here. It has a Ryzen 7 5700X. I believe one of the other builds also had that. So okay, CPU. And then we have for the cooler, we have a 120mm air cooler. So don't know what that means, but it's some sort of tower cooler here again. So not stock. Then for the motherboard, we have a no-name brand motherboard. So not as in I mean no-name brand, it's just that it's not specified here. It's a B550M motherboard. Then for the RAM, we have 32 gigabytes of DDR4 memory. And I actually recognize this brand because I actually have it myself. I don't know if this is an actual picture of the PC, and if it is, that is the Patriot Viper memory. And I don't know what specification that could be. It could be DDR4 3800 or 4000. Do not quote me on that though, because I don't know what this is offering here. I just see this familiar face here in this PC build. For the SSD, we have a 1TB NVMe SSD. Then for our graphics card, we've gone with the RTX 5060 8GB model. So again, guys, why the 8GB model? This is more than $2,000. This is too much for that type of card. Then we have, for the case, we have some type of MATX case. I believe it's Antec, as it says here. And again, pretty cool with the mesh at the bottom. And it comes with, looks like 3 fans, so 2 at the top, 1 at the back, which is awesome to see. Then for the power supply, we have a 650 watt power supply, not specified any type of specification here, unfortunately. And for the warranty, they have a pretty cool 3-year return to base warranty. Awesome to see, guys, here that it has a 3-year warranty, but in terms of offering, it's just not that great. I mean, it does look cool. And sorry, I might be mistaken here. It might have 2 more fans at the bottom as well. So a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fans for the case. But hey, for $2,049 on the member price, I think it might be a wee bit too much. So next up on our list, we have Nitrobyte PC. So fortunately, they don't have anything at the moment. And as well, they are refurbished pre-built gaming PCs, so I can't rate them properly on this list, but they were on Google, so I just thought I might as well put them on here. But let's on to our next one. Sorry about that, guys. We have VenX Computing. I haven't heard of them personally from before, but let's take a look at what they're offering. So their PC is called the VenX LumaStorm, and it's $1,745, which is a lot less than the other builds, but it has a Ryzen 5 5500, which honestly is a little bit old at this point and isn't the best gaming CPU. It was a cool gaming CPU in the past for being a budget buy, but at a minimum on AIM4, I would say 5600 at this point has to be the minimum. So I don't know about the 5500 there. For the CPU cooler, they have the Deepcool 120mm ARGB cooler. It's a tower cooler, which looks pretty cool. Then for the motherboard, they have an ASRock B550M gaming Wi-Fi motherboard. Looks pretty cool there as well. For the RAM, they have Team 32GB of 3200 DDR4 memory. I'm not sure if that's meant to say Team Group or T-Force, not really sure there. For the SSD, they have a Western Digital green 1TB NVMe SSD. Cool to see that all of the SSDs so far have been NVMe. And for the graphics card, they have the RTX 5060 8GB. And I feel like it's more justified at this price point just because it's about $200 less than everyone else at this point. But it is what it is at 8GB, so wouldn't exactly recommend it. But hey, even on my DIY PC, I couldn't put a less than 8GB card. But hey, even on the DIY PC, I couldn't fit a 16GB card for less than $2,000. So, you know, it's okay at this price point, but I just wouldn't really recommend it. Spend a little bit extra and get something a bit faster. For the case, they have the Deepcool CG530, and I think it actually looks pretty cool. It's a bit of a chunky boy. I'm not sure if it's dual chambered or not, but it actually looks quite nice with the fans that they've included inside. So we've got 4 fans here, awesome to see. And for the power supply, we have a Deepcool 550 watt bronze power supply, which should be fine for this type of PC. But again, you know, bronze power supply, I'm not really sure offering that. It also comes with a 3-year warranty, which is awesome to see. Thank you guys for putting that in. Great to help the consumers out. And it's an okay PC build, but I feel like it is a little bit more justified at its price for the RTX 5060, but I'm a little bit hesitant saying that because it still is an 8GB card. Probably would recommend you guys to spend a little bit more. We have another PC from them, and it is the VenX Turbo. So this one is a little bit similar to ours, but a little bit not similar at the same time. We'll specify what that means in just a second. So this PC comes in at $2,054 right there, and its CPU is a Ryzen 5 7600. So it's actually this first PC on this list that's the same as the DIY PC. Awesome to see. They have a Fantex 120mm ARGB tower cooler. Awesome to see there. Now for the motherboard, they have a Gigabyte B650M motherboard, and for the RAM, they have 32GB of DDR5 6000, and it's dual channel, so 2 16GB sticks. Great to see that we actually have 32GB here. Of course, I expect it on for the DDR5 memory. Of course, I expect 32GB on pretty much every build now. And for their SSD, they've gone with Kingston 1TB M.2 Gen 4 NVMe SSD. Cool to see there. And they have an RTX 4060 Ti 8GB model. So again, for this price, I don't think that's fair to offer that. It's just the same thing I'm seeing over and over again. These 8GB cards, for some reason, I'm not sure why they're offering it at that price. For the case, they have the similar case from before. It's a deep cool ARGB mid tower. So I believe it's the same as before. It's very similar to the picture we saw right before. Over here, actually, very, very similar. Not sure if it's the same case or not, but it is both deep cool. They just didn't specify on this listing. And for the power supply, they have a deep cool 550 watt bronze power supply, I believe, same as before. And they also have their 3-year warranty. So yeah, I mean, guys, for $2,054, that's quite a bit of money for what they're offering there. Next up, we have Hungry PC. So I actually haven't heard of them before either, but I saw them on Google and might as well give them a shot. But they won't be ranked in this video, just like because they're using secondhand parts. So it says condition like new, brand new gaming chassis. So I believe maybe the case is new, but the parts inside are not. But I just wanted to chuck it inside here just to give you guys an idea. So this one is $2,000, so $1,199. Comes with an i9-10900K. Pretty crazy processor right there for this type of build. And then we have for the cooler, a deep cool AIO sealed water cooler. So comes with a little 120mm cute little thing there. A little bit small for the CPU, I believe, from memory. I thought this thing was kind of power hungry, so should produce a decent amount of heat. Then for the motherboard, we have a Gigabyte B460M GS3H motherboard. So okay, I guess, but this is an i9-10900K, so yeah, not really sure why you're putting one of the budget boards on it. But in any case, let's head over to the RAM. We have 32 gigabytes of NeTAC Shadow 2 DDR4 3200. This is brand new RAM. It has a 1TB A.data Legend 860 M.2 SSD, which is alright. Then for the graphics card, unfortunately, we have the RTX 2080 8GB. Now, I mean, come on, this is 2025, and the RTX 2080 8GB is pretty outdated at this point. Honestly, it's a little bit worse than the RTX 3070. And for example, you can get an RTX 3070 between something like $400 to $500 in New Zealand. It should be around about there for a decent price for one. And I recently picked up a 6700 XT, which is similar to the RTX 3070, for around about $425, around about there. So yeah, I don't know, RTX 2080s, I don't think that's right for $2,000. It's too much money right there. And for the case, we have the Deepcool MA Cube 110. So a bit of an odd case, but I guess it's kind of nice and sleek there. Very basic case though. And for the power supply, surprisingly, we have the Corsair 750 watt gold rated modular power supply. So not really sure which one it is, but probably the RMX 750. I don't know what year or model it actually is. So I guess it is what it is for that one. And it comes with a 1-year warranty. But guys, it is a wee bit expensive for this type of PC. So just keep that in mind. We're almost there for all of our PC builds, so our recommendations will come soon. There's quite a bit to get through. Our next retailer is Ghostly Engines with their G3 Kestral Ice RTX 5060 Ti gaming PC build. It comes in at $1,849, so it has an i5-4400F, a Thermalright ARGB 240mm AIO liquid cooler, which is pretty cool to see. Looks quite nice in there as well. For the motherboard, we have an MSI B760M ATX motherboard. For the RAM, they've let us down here pretty badly, honestly, with 16 gigabytes of DDR4 3200. Definitely should be 32 gigabytes for DDR4. I don't know why they've done that. For the SSD, they have 1 terabyte of a Gen 4 M.2 NVMe SSD. It doesn't say the brand. Then for the graphics card, they have the 5060 Ti 8GB model. Now, of course, at $1,849, we are paying slightly less, so it is cheaper, and technically it's okay to have this card in at this price, but again, 8GB card, guys, save your money and get something a little bit better. For the case, we have a pretty cool case. I actually like it. It's dual chambered, and it's the Summit Compact M ATX case. Looks pretty cool there with the digital, I think that's, not really sure what that is on the front, but cool little interface there, and has the cool logo at the bottom and on the side. And for the power supply, they just have 650 watt 80 plus gold modular power supply. Great to see that it's gold modular, and it comes with a 1-year warranty. So overall, an okay offering from Ghostly Engines. Last but not least, we have NotBadTech, and I have heard of them through Cheapies, a deals forum website. So let's have a look at what they're offering. So their build is $1,949, which isn't too bad considering what they're offering here. So let's have a look. They have an i5-14400F, a stock Intel cooler. On the motherboard side, they have an H610M motherboard, but basic. On the base model for this price, they're offering only 16 gigabytes of DDR4 3200. But if you increase the price here, you select 32 gigabytes, it goes up to 2049, which isn't too bad in just a second from what I'm about to say. For the SSD, they have a 1TB NVMe SSD, not stated the brand. And then for the graphics card, thank God, they have the RTX 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte model. Awesome to see, and for 2049, I think that's actually a pretty good price. For the case, they have the Zalman P10 White. Awesome to see. Very basic here. They've only have one exhaust fan, so I guess you guys will have to add some later on if you're finding the temps a little bit high, but should be okay in the short term. It would have been nice to just see 1 or 2 more case fans there. Wouldn't have eaten too much into their profit. Case fans are usually pretty cheap. For the power supply, they have a 650 watt power supply. Doesn't state what brand or specification, unfortunately, but it comes with a 2-year warranty. Awesome to see. But yeah, this is a pretty good PC overall, and that covers all 27 PCs, which is quite a bit for me to speak and go through. I hope I've done a good job at showing all of them off and seeing what's good, what's bad. So let's head on to my recommendations now. So for my recommendations, I'm going to start at number 5 and then go upwards from there. So we have 5 recommendations here. Let's take a look at our first one. The first one is from NotBadTech, the RTX 5060 Ti. And you might be thinking, wow, why are you including this? It only has 16 gigabytes of RAM. You can increase it to 32 gigabytes, and that's where it becomes justified. At $2,049, it has this 16 gigabyte model of the graphics card, which is great to see. The RTX 5060 Ti actually outperforms the RX 9060 XT in some ray trace titles, but basically in raster performance at 1080p and 1440p, it's basically the same. So great price, good performance here. A little bit lacking in terms of the case fans and overall aesthetic, but hey, they've done a good job at making it good value for money here. Next up, we have Computer Lounge with their Spectre AMP PC. And honestly, I'm quite impressed with the fact that they could bring it under $2,000, and it's quite similar to our DIY PC. I mean, given most of these are using the i5-14400F, but I guess I can't really help that, and we're using the 7600, which should be slightly better, but anyways, it is what it is. $2,000 for this PC is pretty good. RX 9060 XT 16 gigabytes, which is plenty enough. As you see with these recommendations, I'm not recommending any of the 8 gigabyte cards, especially at this price point. I don't think that's fair at all to you guys. Comes with 32 gigabytes of RAM as well, which is awesome to see, and it's actually DDR5 6000. I'm happy the fact they also put a Z790 board, even though it's kind of overkill for this CPU. Awesome to see though. Happy with this build to recommend for $2,000. So good job, Computer Lounge overall. Nice aesthetic as well. Stock cooler, okay. And I guess you guys can ask as well if you want to put one of the front fans to the back, if you want to have some exhaust fans there. But overall, decent PC. For Computer Lounge, I guess the only thing here is they're using a 750 watt bronze power supply, so compared to the one that we have in our build, which could have been a bit better, but you know, I guess that's what they're offering for this PC, and overall it's okay. So Computer Lounge is number 4 for their Spectre AMP PC. Number 3, we have Reforged PCs, and we actually have 2 recommendations for Reforged PCs that have done pretty well here. So the first is for the RTX 4070 12GB model build. This is a little bit expensive at $2,100, but it comes with the 32GB of RAM as well as the i5 14400F, but it comes with an RTX 4070, and the RTX 4070 should perform a bit better than the RX 9060 XT and the 5060 Ti, both in the 16GB models. So they've done a pretty good job here, although I'm not too familiar with them myself. Pretty good offering in terms of this PC. They're also offering only a bronze tier power supply here for the 750 watt, but it's ATX 3.1. So it's a little bit worse than our DIY PC, but for the price it's not too bad considering it is the RTX 4070. And it does say as well that the RTX 4070 here is new as well, which is awesome. Now their warranties are mixed, so I believe it's just between the individual warranties of each part, but I'm sure they should help you out if anything goes wrong. Not 100% sure on that. Again, I'm not rating them on customer service or warranty factor. You guys will have to do a little bit of research yourselves. And number 2.1, I guess, would have been the 5060 Ti build from them as well, with the Ryzen 5 9600X. Actually very similar to our PC, except that we had the 9060 XT instead. So this is technically slightly better, but it was $100 more. Overall, pretty good PC, but it's out of stock now, so that's why I put it as 2.1, because technically it doesn't count. So it would have been a good PC. It's something to keep an eye out for, and overall very good build, especially with that CPU and the graphics card that they're offering. I guess again the only thing is the power supply. They're using the Cooler Master MWE. It is a bronze rated power supply, so yeah, I don't know, compared to our DIY PC it's slightly worse, but this would have been a pretty good value for money overall. They also had the one with the RTX 4070 that went out of stock, but unfortunately that one had went out of stock while I was compiling the list, and this one had went out of stock when I was actually making the video. So it wasn't my recommendation, it's just that it went out of stock in the process of making this video, unfortunately. And for our number 1 pick, drum roll please, we have Extreme PC. Yeah, woo! Sorry. We have Extreme PC with their i5 14400 PC with the RX 9060 XT 16GB model. This comes in at $1,879, so cheaper than all the other builds, and I think it's a pretty good value offering from what they're showing here. Comes with that 2-year warranty as well here from what it shows, and if we scroll down, has overall pretty decent specs. 32GB of DDR4 3200, a little bit lacking, but hey, it is what it is. We have that 1TB SSD. We have a very basic motherboard, the H610, but the fact that it is $1,879 actually beat our DIY PC with very similar specs. So quite impressed by Extreme PC. The fact that they could get it under 1900 shows that there is probably, I'm going to see, margin to play with for the other companies. So their profit margins might be a little bit larger for the other companies. Of course, this is complete conjecture. I don't know if the other companies are making more money or not, because everyone gets parts at different prices. But hey, $1,879 shows maybe there is a way. I don't know how they're doing it, but good job for Extreme PC. Now, overall, I think we've done a pretty good job today. I'm quite tired. We've compiled all of this together, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks to the person in the comments. I forgot your name, your username, sorry. I will mention you on screen who made this video possible, because he actually asked me the question. I have not done one of these videos in years, so I hope you guys like it. Subscribe please if you guys want to see more, and hit that like button. It will let me know if you guys want more of these videos. They are quite long to do, so I really do need to see that there is an audience for this going forward. Be happy to do it at the $1,200 range as well for all of you Kiwis out there. So let me know in the comments below how we did today, and have you seen something better value for money? Did I mess up Is there something wrong with the PC recommendations that I gave? Is my DIY PC not good enough? I'll be happy to argue with you in the comments. I'm just kidding. Please let me know. I'm more than happy to take feedback. It'd be awesome to see if you guys could beat my DIY PC for the money. Just make sure it's brand new, you're not using secondhand parts. Otherwise, if we're talking secondhand parts, that would be quite the challenge and a cool video. But other than that, thank you guys very much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.